Hello everyone. This is the 13th part of the story, Percy Jackson, the God of Magic. Chapter 61. I watched as Percy and Annabeth dealt with the monsters, showing quite some skill, but in the end of the match, it was little Tyson who saved them, carrying the team with his incredible strength. It was quite an impressive display. After that, I saw them walk out of the school, to which I immediately quit my fake job, without Percy to troll. I had no reason to stay. As I made my way out of the school, I saw Tyson, Annabeth and Percy talking, when all of the sudden Tyson points at me, and said, "He also smells weird." Annabeth looked at him for a brief second as if pondering over his words before he turned to look at me, angry. I knew it. There were too many freaking coincidences, she barked, and I sighed, gathering the mist around us to avoid unwanted attention. My, what a temper, daughter of Athena, I chuckled. Hello Mr. Jackson, I assume I won't get your last assignment, am I right? I asked Percy with a smile, and he sheepishly nodded, all right. What are you? Annabeth asked, her sword quickly unsheathing. Do you pretend to clean my teeth with that toothpick, or something? I snorted, what I am, or am not, is none of your concern, spam of Athena. What I can offer you, well, that is. What can you offer, Mr. Nice Teacher? Tyson smiled, and I had to admit he was naively adorable. Well, information, about anything you might want, I smiled at the young Cyclops. I am but an open book. If you ask the right questions, I am not going to lie. I was having a blast playing the mysterious and edgy character that has too much information to be trustworthy. And we should trust you. Annabeth scoffed, her mouth closing into a thin line. Oh my, no. No, I chuckled, you would be an idiot to trust me or anyone blindly, but you would also be an idiot to let this opportunity go. I winked at them. Can you tell us what happened to the camp? Percy asked, much to Annabeth's annoyance. To the camp, nothing. To the barrier protecting it, well, someone poisoned the magical core of the sacred tree known as Talia's tree, I answered. Yeah, we know. Annabeth rolled her eyes at me. Adam and ex-camper did, and that I snorted. He did not, I chuckled. He was betrayed and sent to Tartarus before the tree was even touched. Luke stopped Adam, Annabeth growled, and I trust him with my life. Oh, you poor girl, I sighed, blinded by love, what a sad way to lose IQ. Oh well, enjoying having both your heart and self-esteem broken at the same time. Percy sighed, I will clear his name, and make sure he comes back, he added with determination. I eyed the young demigod with curiosity before I smiled, good luck then, young heroes, and with that I teleported out of the school back to Valhalla. Luke point of view. Everything was going according to plan. As soon as Percy came back, I would walk him to the forest, and kill him, ending all the threats to the path I am building for all of those that had been forgotten by the gods. Adam, while stronger than before, had changed and cared not for those who abandoned him, and according to Lord Kronos would in time join us. But, our conversations about Adam would feel off. Lord Kronos never stated I would be safe nor that my survival was a must for his plans. I knew I was expendable, but sometimes it almost seemed he wanted to replace me with Adam, but perhaps it was my paranoia talking. I was about to reveal to everyone that I have ever loved. I was the traitor under their noses, that I was the one that had poisoned the tree, and that Adam had been innocent all along. Percy is on the move, Kronos growled within my mind, be ready, the child of Poseidon must die if we wish to achieve my goals. He will die, I was sure of that, I had seen the kid, he was weak, not very coordinated. A pit scorpion would be enough to end him, do not worry my lord. Kronos left my mind without even acknowledging my answer, and I couldn't help but wonder if they would ever forgive me for what I was about to do. It was all for them, for us, we demigods deserve better, not what the gods give us. Today, I start our revolution. Hestia point of view. I missed Adam, I missed hanging out with him. Things in the camp had gone rather dull since he left. Without him I was back to the same old routine, tending to the hearth. I hated Luke for taking the little piece of joy I had obtained through Adam. Well, I suppose I didn't hate him. I can't hate anyone, not even Kronos, but I disliked him a lot. Not sure I would ever learn how to hate, nor that I wanted to. Hestia, your presence is required in Mount Olympus, Zeus thundered through the hearth, and I scoffed. I told you already, Zeus, until Adam is cleared of the sins of others I will not go back to Olympus. If my little brother thought I was going to obey him, after he was proving himself to be an idiot, then he had another thing coming. Hestia, I am your brother, but above all I am your king. Zeus growled, you will come or I will drag you up here. There it was, his need to assert his power. I will not go, I shot back. Hestia. I have protected you for eons. I made sure everyone knew if they messed with you, they were messing with me. I even made us sin the act of courting you. Zeus stated, his eyes cold, don't make me take away all that protection. Without me, you have nothing. I stared at Zeus in shock, you would stoop so low, to get what you want. I was shocked, it hurt to know. This was what I was worth to my brother. Goodbye, Zeus, and for the first time in my life, I extinguished the flames of a hearth. Since my creation, this had been the first time I did such a thing. Chapter 62. After teleporting back to my hotel room, I started to go through my things to see if I still had some of the delicious lasagna Hestia had given me before coming to Valhalla. Sadly, it seemed I had devoured the dish, for I had none on my bags. Which meant it was time to go and get some more food, directly from the source. Hestia, it was time to visit her anyways. Alright, let's see, where is my favorite goddess? I hummed, using a spell to locate and contact her, expecting her to be at the camp like always or in the underworld, but much to my surprise, she was not in the camp, nor in the underworld. That alone alarmed me. I didn't know why, but something didn't feel right. Especially because she wasn't answering my magic call. Taking a deep breath, I decided it was best to go and check in person what had happened. There had to be a reason for her to be out of the camp and not answering my calls. Troplet OT8H. The spell did its job, teleporting to where Hestia was. She looked distressed, her eyes were red, from crying I assumed, but what got my attention was the fact she was bleeding, gold-colored blood running down her arm from a cut of her shoulder. Adam. Hestia muttered, her eyes wide in shock, you have to leave. I couldn't really hear her. Well, I could, but I was distracted, seeing the cuts on her body, the pained look on her face. Without even realizing it, something snapped inside of me. Who did this? I asked, pointing to her wounds. A part of me knew staying here was a bad idea. Hestia was stronger than me, and if anyone managed to hurt her, it would most certainly be able to win against me. But the thing is, I lost control. You see, self-control is a finite resource because the part of the brain exerting control eventually gets tired. It requires energy, and that gets one way or another depleted. My decades in Tartarus, my friend, hurt. It infuriated me. Hestia. In the name of Zeus, stand down and come, or I'll be forced to shoot you down. I stooped, a heavy feeling building in my stomach, my body stiffening at the familiar voice above us, as a sudden cold sensation accompanied by a feeling of dread hit my core. The one that had hurt Hestia was my sister, Artemis. Leave. I can take care of this. Hestia tried to push me to go, once again. Why are you hunting her? I asked, not even realizing how shaky and soft my voice was. Who are you? Artemis ignored my question, aiming her bow at me. Answer the question. I snarled, feeling a sudden onset of anger and frustration taking over me. Why would you hunt the noblest goddess in all of Olympus? The matters of Olympus are not yours to know, little man, Artemis hissed. Adam, please just go. I'll handle this. Hestia tried once again, in a futile attempt to make me go. she should know by now I would never leave her. So be it, I growled, giving a quick bark of humorless laughter, but if you are hunting her, you will have to hunt me down. Sister, I hissed the last word. Adam. Artemis seemed shocked for a second as if double-guessing something, but soon that expression of doubt changed for one of resolve. You are also coming with me, traitor, in the name of my father, you two are under arrest. As soon as those words left her mouth, her hunters appear, circling us, from the trees, behind the bushes. I could feel them aiming at us. Hestia might not have it in her to hurt anyone, but, have in mind dear sister, I will kill all your hunters if necessary. I growled, summoning my sword. For one, I knew it was best to run, but if I did with Artemis in front of me, she would be able to track my teletransportation, and if that happened, Asgard would pay. You will die before that happens, Artemis stated, pressing her lips together. Soon after, a flurry of arrows rained on me. The arrows came mostly from Artemis, and were all aimed at my vitals. In a rush I destroyed the majority of them, but a few managed to graze me, cutting a bit my arms, legs and face. I immediately readied for another attack, but Artemis was staring at me in shock. You are a god, she muttered. I followed her eyes to my wounds, to see that like Hestia I was bleeding gold. I was bleeding ichor, the golden blood of all immortal beings. Well, good to know, I muttered. It's impossible. Artemis muttered. She was distracted. This was my chance. If I wanted to escape with Hestia, I had to do it now. So putting all the power I could muster into my hands, blasting the unexpecting Artemis away into the skies. Immediately I rushed at Hestia, scooping her into my arms and running the fuck away from there. With Artemis temperately down thanks to my surprise attack, I had it much a minute or two before she recovered from it, so I had to run as far away as possible before teleporting to the hotel. After him, Zoe shouted, but I paid no attention. Artemis was the only threat. Her hunters had no chance of catching up to us. Adam, they will now know you are free. They will hunt you down, Hestia whispered, tears streaming down her face. Why didn't you let me handle the situation? You would have never hurt Artemis, I sighed. Besides, as your champion I have to defend you, I added with a wink, trying to reassure her. I didn't mind those idiots hunting me down. Thanks, Hestia smiled, resting her head on my chest. Anytime, Hestia, I grinned at her. Chapter 63. Once I was far away from Artemis, and I was sure she would not be able to track my magical signature. I teleported to Valhalla. I think we are safe now, I breathed out, putting Hestia on the floor of my room, gently. You teleported us to Valhalla, Hestia stated, surprised by the location I had picked. The only place Zeus can't send his dogs, I nodded. Asgard is a world he has no real access to unless he wants to anger the Norse pantheon. Does Odin know? Hestia asked, her voice carrying more weight than it should. She was worried. I don't want to offend the Norse pantheon with my presence here, so that's what had her worried, a very valid reason to be worried. We already had enough in our plate with one pantheon hunting us, we didn't want another pantheon in that dangerous mix. I'll sort the situation with Odin and the rest of the gods here, I assured with a warm smile. Right now she needed me to be strong, and I would be. I am friends with Thor, and maybe Heimdall, not sure, and Odin is pretty chill. I see, Hestia breathed out a sigh of relief. Besides, I smiled, knowing Odin like I know him, he probably already knows you are here, I winked. I don't know what to do, Hestia muttered as she sat on my king-size bed. All my life, all I did was my duty, keep the hearth alive and well, and now, what am I to do? Will my realms die? At this point, she was shaking. I am scared, Adam. I know it's silly, I have lived more than any human could possibly want, but I'm scared of what will happen now. Hestia, words can't begin to describe how much I appreciate what you have done for me, I sighed, taking her hands. I was lost, living in a self-inflicted lie of pathetic optimism, and you made it all better. Your company was the oasis I needed. So hear me well, I will make sure everything goes back to normal. No, I will make sure to make things better. I took a deep breath. The hardest part of my little speech was yet to come. Hestia was a fierce pacifist, and unfortunately for her, more likely than not, this situation would not be solved with a simple conversation, even if I have to bring the entire Olympus down to ensure we survive. Adam, ID. Hestia began, but I stopped her. Hestia, I know you care for me. I do, believe I do. I know you care for everyone, that's who you are. You even care for the disgusting excuse of a man that is your youngest brother, and above all, I also know you will not approve of my actions. I smiled at her, so feel free to hate me, but I will do what I must to protect what I love. I was surprised at how dark the last part had come, so I was stopped mid-sentence by a slap. I won't hate you, I will never hate you, Hestia said, glaring at me with something akin to anger, as you said. I can't hate anyone, I just can't, it's not in me. I don't like some gods and people, but I can't hate them. Priapo tried to rape me, and I forgave him, and yeah, sure I was mad for a while, but I never hated him. I mean, I don't even hate my dad, and he ate me, she chuckled bitterly, so yeah, I probably won't approve of your methods, but I will still stand by you. You have become a beacon of light for me, so don't worry about that, she winked. Priapo tried to rape her, I was still processing that, and the fact the motherfucker was still alive. Thanks, now, let me go and talk to Odin about your situation. I'll start working on our dinner, Hestia smiled, running to the kitchen inside my hotel. Wait a fucking minute. Since when my hotel room has a fucking kitchen? I'll take the other room if you do mind, she added, and since when do I have 2 rooms? Come to think of it, since when do I have a king-size bed? Okay, I replied, running out of the room to talk with Odin about Hestia and the sudden changes in my room. Odin point of view. Today was the day I saw Adam bring Hestia, the goddess of the hearth, and home. I was mildly surprised about the events unfolding right now, mostly because of all the possible futures. This once was a bit iffy, but nonetheless, and as ironic and spoiling as it sounds, all roads lead to Rome. Adam, I greeted, preemptively as he entered the throne room. Odin. I need a favor, and totally unrelated to that favor. I have some questions regarding my room, Adam greeted, narrowing his eyes at me with mild suspicion. The kid was clueless sometimes, can't he connect the points? And no, I saw there was a possibility of him bringing Hestia, and according to that modified his room. What is it that you want with me, young man? Pretending to be ignorant was fun at times. Well, I have a friend I love very much, Adam started, making emphasis in the word love, and like me, she's being hunted by the Olympians, and the reason behind it is because she stood up for me. I hummed, wondering what kind doors would Frigg choose for the throne room, now that Thor was about to break them. Is Hestia, isn't it? I smirked at the young god. Adam sighed, yes. I know this is your realm, and I am but a guest, and right on time, a hammer broke down the doors of my throne room. Like always, Thor arrived, late and at the right time. Father, I come here to request you let his wife stay here. I will not take no for an answer, Thor declared, holding his hammer tight. She's not my W, Adam began, but Thor cut him off with a hug. I am truly sorry, my dear friend. If I had known you were fighting, I would have showed those Greeks why they shouldn't be messing with us. Thor growled, don't worry though, I will make sure of doubling your training, so that next time, instead of running, you vanquish those fools to hell. Thanks, but about Hestia, she is not my W, Adam began, but this time I cut him off. I was having too much fun to let him spoil it. You are free to have her here, I winked. I am not so cold to break you two apart. A most wise choice, father. Thor nodded, smiling at me. Chapter 64. Why did everyone thought Hestia was my wife? It was a Riddick. Was that why my bed was now king size? Fucking Odin, hate to admit the old bastard knows his way around a practical joke. I suppose he could have started a worse rumor, like me fucking Ares or something. So, they all think I am your wife? Hestia giggled, that's silly. It is. I smirked, feigning a hurt expression, but is it really that bad of a rumor? I pouted, and here I thought I was a good match. Hestia giggled, of course you are, but Zeus declared I was to be untouched. But I suppose now that Olympian rule is out of the window, he probably declared me a traitor, she sighed. Besides, I think I'm a bit too old for you, she winked playfully. I rolled my eyes at her. Hestia, I'm 150 years old. Every available female is either too old or too young for me. Touché, Hestia nodded, so what now? What about what? I asked. Well, what are our plans? Hestia inquired, sitting on the edge of my bed with a somber expression. Well, I think I will head to Rome later today. I hesitated, wondering, was Hestia aware of her split personality, her alter ego? That's a smart move, Hestia said, much to my surprise. Our alter egos, or aspects, are more than likely going to treat you well. Wait, you know about that? I asked, wondering how she dealt with that. I do, every god does. We are aware of our alter egos, we simply don't know what they do, or how they operate, Hestia admitted. I know about my Roman aspect, but I don't have any knowledge of what she experiences. I see, I sighed. Well, I mostly plan to see if the Roman pantheon has anything I can use to increase my power. Be careful, our Roman aspects are more, from what I have gathered, militaristic, so try to avoid angering them. Hestia advised with a smile, take care. Will do, I nodded. I'm sorry I don't have much to do here. We'll tell Thor to bring you a few game consoles. No need, I have plans with Frigg, Hestia smiled, but if Thor happens to drop a PlayStation or an Xbox, I won't get mad. She grinned. Very well, I snorted, will do. I waved at her, teleporting to the throne room to ask Odin something before leaving. Adam, you do know there is a door on my throne room, right? Odin asked, with a bored expression. I do, I smiled, sorry for annoying you. I chuckled. No, you are not, and besides you don't bother, Odin assured me with a smile, not all the time anyway, so what can I do for you? I have a question, I sighed, rubbing my hands together in anticipation. Is there a way to fix the problem the Greeks and Romans suffer from their alter egos? Odin sighed, I should really start charging you for the questions. Heck, my own uncle Mimir asked for something in exchange for knowledge. I gulped at that, but I suppose I have a soft spot for you, and to be fair, your book has knowledge not even me, or Mimir, have ever seen, so. He smirked, I will help you. Thanks, I sighed in relief. Not so fast, kid, Odin sighed as see, your problem has a solution, but is not easy, not even I have managed to do such a thing with my own aspect, or alter ego. You have an alter ego too? That was news to me. One that I'm aware, Odin nodded, Odr, the Norse god of the sun, and husband of Freyja, so believe me when I say, if the solution was simple, I would have done it, eons ago, alas it's not. What do you mean? I inquired. Well, for one, you have to convince both aspects of merging, which is essentially impossible because the oldest aspect will be what remains of the two, so you would be basically asking Vesta to kill herself, Odin sighed, and that's the easiest step. Step 2 and 3 are complicated. More complicated than asking an immortal being to kill herself? What in the fucking hell could be harder than that? If they agree to merge, you would have to move to step 2, making those who believed in each aspect believe they are one, and not two beings. Odin sighed, which is harder than it sounds. Mortals are a stubborn bunch. You mean every human? If that was the case, this shit was impossible. No, just those that are really close to the aspects themselves. Odin shook his head, demigods and such. Well. At least the numbers are rational, I sighed in relief. Then comes step 3, which is the hardest of them all, finding a way to make the god in question immune to human perspective. Odin chuckled, that one. I have no idea how to do it, it has been eluding me for thousands of years, not that Odin would ever accept merging with me. He doesn't want to die, he loves his wife and his wife loves him, and even if he did want to merge, it would bring a political mess into my table, but still, not having the answer to this problem is infuriating, he admitted with sigh. Well, I suppose I will try and give it a go, and if I find a solution to this, I will let you know, I smiled, wondering if fixing that was even possible. I hope you do, Odin chuckled, at times I think I am overthinking the problem and that's the reason I have yet to solve it. Perhaps you will see what I failed to see. As if, I snorted, on other matters, can you tell Thor, Hestia needs some gaming consoles, a PlayStation and an Xbox preferably. Odin laughed, the mighty All-Father, reduced to a messenger, don't worry your wife will have her consoles. I mean you could have created them with magic, but whatever. Oh.
Yeah.
I sighed, I was still not used to my powers, thanks.
See ya.
I'm on my way to give Zeus a godly migraine, I chuckled. Chapter 65. Camp Jupiter was like Camp Half-Blood, designated to protect and train the children of the gods, in this case, the children of the Roman gods, or rather the aspects, anyway. The difference between both camps was the Camp Jupiter was more like a military camp, I suppose thanks to the more militaristic way of thinking the Roman aspects had in contrast to their normally easily offended Greek side. Magically speaking, the camp was weaker or easier to break, their magical defenses were weak compared to Camp Half-Blood. Well, I suppose it was relative, for me breaking into both camps was now a breeze, but for monsters, well, they would have an easier way to break into Camp Jupiter. Taking a deep breath, I focused some mana on the area to get more information about the camp, mostly trying to find all the ins and outs of the camp, information I did not need, but I wanted to have to fill my curiosity. I had after all teleported to the camp, and had no idea where the entrance was located. With a chuckle I felt as the mana pulse I had sent around the camp came back with the information I was looking for, showing me the camp only had one formal entrance, which was located in a service tunnel near the main Caldecott Tunnel, in San Francisco. Young God, someone whispered, too close to my liking. In the name of, me? Fuck, don't do that, I jumped back startled, seeing an old lady standing behind me. Who are you? I inquired, taking a deep breath. We are the Percy, the old lady replied. We? Was this powerful old lady senile? Can gods go senile? Yes, we, two more old ladies whispered in one voice behind me. Needless to say, I acted like a man, jumping once again. I had no idea why, but these soon-to-be oil grandmas felt like something I should not take lightly. We are known to you as the Fates. Oh. I really should have read a book of Roman mythology. Oh well, we have been expecting you for decades. Is that a good thing? I asked. The more I talked with them, the more pressure I felt in the air. No wonder Zeus feared them, they are leagues above Zeus. I can feel it, the power to control destiny itself, it's quite overwhelming. It is, one of the terrifyingly powerful grandmas nodded. Until it's not, Grandma B said. I will call them the ABC grandmas. So yes, but no? I asked once again. Are you aware, the Roman pantheon has no real god of magic, powerful over 9,000 Grandma said. Not really. Trivia fills the role, quite poorly, her main realm is Crossroads. And? I asked, not sure where this was going. You want power, and we are willing to help you, Grandma C answered. Why? I asked, narrowing my eyes at them in suspicion. Why would the fates want to intervene in my favor? There had to be a catch. No reason, Grandma A answered. We simply decided on a whim to help you a bit, by guiding you into the right path. You see, you are a god, but your power is currently heavily limited. A god without a realm is no real god, Grandma C agreed. So, you are just giving me the realm of magic?
Yeah.
There had to be a catch somewhere. No, we are simply informing you that as a god, you have the right to challenge others for their realms, as long as you have a claim for said realm. Grandma C smiled. As Greek new god, you have the right to challenge Romans and Greeks alike for their realms, and we thought it was best to inform you about Trivia and her situation. So, claiming it. The possibilities to that implication were endless. Have in mind, the god would have to accept the challenge, Grandma B stated. I see, thanks. I was still trying to figure out their angle. Why were they sharing information with me? Nothing in this world came free. You are a mystery young god, we know your future, yet because of your father and his, we can't alter it. We can only see it unfold. It's vexing, Grandma A added. There it was again, just who the fuck was my father? Can you tell me who my father is? I had a feeling they were not going to give me an answer, but it was worth a shot. No, we can't, and with that, they disappeared as they came, without making a sound. I swear it just feels my dad will end being a nobody compared to the hype these gods are building up, I sighed. So challenging a god. Well, I suppose that is a way to obtain power. Hades' point of view. You sent Artemis to hunt her. I bellowed in anger, as Zeus simply raised one eyebrow in mild amusement, his lip curling into a smug smile. I am her king, and I am your king, Zeus stated, slamming his fist on his throne. If she can't obey a simple command, then she will learn discipline. You are no king, I spat. You will regret this, Zeus, you will regret it. Hestia was always off limits, she was the hearth of Olympus, our fucking safe haven. Will I? Zeus scoffed, I do what I do for the good of Olympus. Don't lie to me, you arrogant brat, I snarled, you know better than anyone, you only think of yourself. Do I? Zeus barked in anger, when our father ate every single one of you, it was me who rescued all of you when the walking calamity of Typhon attacked, and all of you hid in fear. It was me who fought the storm giant for years. It has always been my power, the very thing that has kept Olympus in one piece. You are never going to get it, are you? I chuckled humorlessly, as more gods entered the throne room. Artemis, Apollo, Ares, to count a few. You think you're entitled to everything just because you are the strongest, just because you defeated our father, but being the strongest is not enough. You can't just be strong, you have to be smart. You can't just be deserving, you have to be worthy, but all you have ever been is a bloody brat, you have to grow up. Leave. Zeus growled. With pleasure. This marks the end of part 13 of the story Percy Jackson, the God of Magic. Thank you for listening. Please like the video and hit the subscribe button to listen more. Hit the bell icon to get notified of all the new content uploaded to the channel ASAP.